Welcome everybody today to the Canars webinar on unlocking your business's potential with systems. So I'm going to introduce to Trent Taylor. Trent is our special guest speaker today. We've had the privilege of working with Trent now since January around this particular topic. Trent owns a business called Teach It Forward, and his slogan's Learn It, Live It, Teach It, plus a couple of other businesses as well, and is a master on systems. He's actually presented around the country on systems. So he's one of the leading people we've found around the region on this very important topic. We've found Trent an invaluable asset for our business as we've been going along. He's helped us a lot. Yes, he's been a hard taskmaster. He's kept us on track, made sure we do as we're supposed to do, slapped our wrists when we needed to be, but you need that sort of thing to help you along this pathway. And the rewards are great. Look, since we've been working with Trent, we've found that in general, we've found more time within our business again. It's easy to train new staff. Our staff happiness has gone up as a result of systemisation, which Trent and Jenna have led at Canars here. And that's then moving back to increased efficiencies flowing through our organisation. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to Trent Taylor, who will tell us about unlocking your business's potential with systems.
Bring it on, mate. Thank you. You actually said some nice things there. That was surprising. I thought you were going to belt me then, but you did well. Thank you, mate. And I should say that Jenna is the master of systems. I sort of know a little bit as well, but very kind. So welcome, everybody. I'm specifically here really to talk about freedom, choices, and systems. So what I'm about to say may sound a little crass to some of you, but what I've learned in dealing with business owners for the last 20 years is that at the heart of hearts, you're all going to agree. And here is my first statement. I do business so I can make as much money as I can, but in the least amount of time. Okay, so for me, business is a game and I'm bloody competitive. So whether I'm playing squash or cricket or footy or whatever I'm doing, it's a game. When we're playing a game, we're having fun. When we're having fun, we learn. So for me, maybe something for you to consider is that if you treated business like a game and you were competitive and you said, right, well, the outcome here is to make as much money as I can in the least amount of time, so I have time to be with my family, to chase my passions. So the key for that is to really look at simpler ways of doing things. Okay, so when I'm leading my businesses, I make time. I really focus on making, how can I make things more effective? How can I have someone else or some piece of technology do what I do so that I've got the time to focus on other things? And that's the whole principle behind that is leverage. Okay, so leverage is less with more. Okay, so why do I approach it this way? Because, and the main reason being, what I love to do is farming. My passion's farming. This is me at the beginning of summer, and yeah, I got bogged. So I'm not that good a farmer. That's why I need a bit of time to practice it and do more of it. But I'm just really pleased that my primary source of income is not farming because I think I'd be in a lot of trouble. But I just really love to learn. Farming, Mother Nature teaches me so much about myself and life, and this is my passion, and business really funds my passion. And when I'm talking with my older clients, the older clients that I say, they're in their last 3 to 5 years of doing business, I really encourage business owners to say, look, what's your passion in life? What are you going to do when you finish business? Are you going to be ready for that? Because if you don't get ready for retiring or succeeding your business, people retire and they don't have something, that they're passionate about. They tend to get, bored. They feel less relevant. They feel less important, and often they can get sick or worse. So I was really lucky to find my passion, and I've been developing my farm for the last 8 years, and I'm about to extend by another 100 acres, which is great because I really want to create my own cattle stud. And go down that path. But for me, learning how to leverage through my businesses, and there's only three tools that we can influence as business owners, and that's people, tech, technology, and systems, okay? But systems is the thing that technology and people need to utilize, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So to unlock your business's potential, we need to have strong systems so that our people can utilize them and our technology can utilize them so that we can focus on growing our businesses. Now, when I talk about systems, there's really four main areas that I really needed to focus on to really get to the next stage of life where I didn't keep having to put out fires. And I'll actually know what I'll do. I'll share what I'm doing now, and then I'll speak to you about that. Now, I currently run three different businesses. So Teacher Forward is the one we're speaking through right now. And I'm the CEO and director and 100% shareholder of these businesses. I have a conveyancing business down in Melbourne as well. And I also have the farm, which we call Catico. The interesting part of this is that I still only work 4 days a week. And people are sort of saying to me, how the hell do you run three businesses? And now I'm struggling to do one. Are the businesses successful? Well, I don't think I'm any Bill Gates or Elon Musk, but my accountant says that we're doing very, very well. Obviously, I know my numbers very well, and he's actually been saying, how the hell do you do it? Can you share this with clients? But most people want to know how I run three businesses. How do I do it in 4 days a week? How do I do that in 3 weeks out of a month? Because I have 1 week off a month as well, just to refresh. I typically get out in the paddocks and do stuff, but how can you run three businesses like that? And there's a simple answer, and this is what Darren and I spoke a little bit about, is that I just have a really clear vision of what I want in life, but I have a super, super strong trust in systems, okay? So systems have unlocked the potential in my business. And when I say the potential, it's unlocked my team's ability to be at their best, because I don't need to micromanage, and they have systems to follow, but they have the mentality of utilizing and creating systems. So therefore, I don't build the businesses around that I have to be the person who has the answers. We have a systems mentality and say, okay, well, what system don't we have, or where do we have a deficiency? And that's really, really important, okay? And when the team are able to do that and utilize the technology, it allows me to focus on what I do best and what I love to do. So the thing that I learned, particularly back in about 2009 and 10, is that 99% of my problems, they're not actually people problems. I know that us business owners, we bitch and moan about you can't get enough staff or team. When you do have them, they're bloody lazy. They don't work as hard as us. A few of you might feel the same way. But really, that's just a sign of system deficiencies or system weaknesses. The question to ask yourself, if you start bitching about people who work for you, the questions that certainly humbled me, that I was asked many years ago, was, well, who hired them? Well, that would be me. Or who recruited them? Yeah, that's me. Who inducted them? Oh, yeah, that's me. Who's responsible to train them? Oh, yeah, that's me. So the actual answer was me. And so I had to really focus on, okay, well, how do I change this? So it's training, but what am I going to train them with? Well, I need systems to train them with. So that's why I say it's not just a futile cliche that 99% of your challenges are systems related. It's actually the reality once you start looking at it. So what are the systems that I had to do to start? Because I started with Teacher Forward, then I added Catico, and then I added Skilled, and then next year I'll be adding another business. What did I do? Darren wanted me to share with you what were the things I really focused on systemizing first. So first thing was my time management. How do I stay focused so that I'm focusing on the right things and my team are focusing on the right things? So I had to get my time organized, running it through my calendars and my phones and my computers was the biggest thing, because I can get money back, but I can't get time. So when I am working, and because I'm working 4 days a week and 3 weeks a month, when I'm working, I'm going at it flat out. So I really needed to get that right. Once I got myself organized, because, speed of the leader, speed of the team, I then had to make sure that I had transparency in the business. I had to know what was going on with the numbers. So that was really getting my cash flows up to speed and making sure that they were right for each of the entities. And I also had to get my dashboards. So, what are the key numbers I need to see and understand and on a weekly basis. So I really got those systemized. Then my people, how did I help my people get clear on what they needed to do? So we really got obviously our 10 hats was like an org chart on steroids. We got the job descriptions really clear, and then we put in monthly performance reviews so that they, I could give them feedback, they could give me feedback, and we just worked on improving one thing a month. So it created a really great culture. And then really we then just started to systemize our core processes. So every business, doesn't matter what it is, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of income of core services, things we sell or do, that if we get those right, 80% of our income will be secure, and it enables us to focus on the other 20. So they're the 4 main areas that I really had to systemize first, okay? So right now you've joined this webinar as for the listeners here, you've joined here for a specific reason to you. This is not about me or Darren specifically, but we will share our experiences and why we've come to be able to speak to you today. But you're here to find distinctions about systems for your business, is what I'm assuming. Would you agree, Darren, that would make sense?
Definitely.
100%. So
100%.
If you think about your business right now, for whoever's listening right now, okay, and you think about your systems of the business, ask yourself these questions. So what I want you to do is just quickly write down 2 or 3 things to the answer to this question and the next 2. So in your business, you don't have to share them with me, but I want you to write or type something in here for you, because we're going to come back and hit it in a minute. Where do you see the most inconsistent results in your business right now? Like, it is in your sales? Is it your time? Do you work long hours and shorter hours? Is it the cash is going up and down? Are your people really productive? And then they're like, where do you see the most inconsistent results? Okay. Where do you get pulled back into your business the most to answer questions, to fill the gap or fix mistakes, which is what we term, putting out fires? Where is that? Is that in the marketing area? Is that in the sales area? Is that in the operations area where you're doing the job? Where do you get pulled into it? Just write 1 or 2 things down. Now, this is the really tricky one. I know we've only got a short amount of time today, but what's 3 to 5 things that you do every week that takes up over 65% of your week? Now, I tend to work with a lot of professional services in the coaching part of my work, and the answer to this for them is emails and phone calls is 2 of the major things. So what is it for you? So just write them down, because your answers to these questions are going to tell you exactly where you should probably start. I told you my 4 ways, but what are your 4 ways? So, Darren, let's why don't we run a poll? Okay, everyone's just had a quick little moment to write down or type in what they want. So let's run a poll. Where in your business do you think you could or should systemize to get the best and biggest impact to your time and cash? So you've just written those things down. Who's going to run this poll? Is that poll up yet? I can't see anything.
Yeah, poll's up there now, Trent.
Rightio. So which of the 4 areas up there, can you just click 1? If you are listening and on this webinar right now, click 1. Unfortunately, I can't see it, but Darren, can you see them clicking on?
No, I will give you 30 seconds to quickly click on 1.
So we just really want to make this interactive, because this is about you. This is not about us. This is about helping you get the clarity. So if you can just quickly click it there. And Jenna, you'll be able to sign it off and give us the results. Is that correct?
Yes, yep.
Excellent. Have a drink of water. Rightio. How about we end that poll now? What's the result, Jen?
Got 12 responses so far, so I'll close the poll. We'll just have to leave. All right, let's see.
What percentages do we have?
We got 50%, 45% time management. Sorry, 50% time management, and then we've got 30% core service systems.
Core service and time
But
management.
now more come in. So it's about half core service systems and time management systems.
Ah, perfect. And so the thing is, the other cool thing about that is that time management, guys, whether we like it or not, whether we're alive or dead, time keeps ticking. So time management is actually about me management, or us management, like managing ourselves. So we can't manage time. We can only manage ourselves within the constant of time. So if that is the thing that's getting in the way of for you, that's awesome, because you can control that and change that in a split second, which is great. Core services, really, really powerful. That's great. So you've just told us, thank you. And what I'm going to do is through the rest of the webinar, I'm going to sort of just speak into the time management core services where it's relevant. But Darren, you're the one who created and decided that you wanted to bring this to your clients. Why don't you tell us what took you so long until you truly invested in systemizing business? What got in the way for you?
It was probably that thing, Trent, where we probably didn't see a pressing need. Pre-COVID, we had experienced staff, we had spare capacity, we had time. And from that there, I suppose we also worked in our business was probably, let's call it siloed. So each team worked by themselves and that worked fine. Yes, there were differences in how we did things, but it wasn't an issue pre-COVID, I suppose. We were handling that. We had some systems, but we didn't understand like we do now the need for these things and how it could unlock our business's potential. So nothing was there really pushing us to make that change at that point in time.
Or nothing was hurting.
Not hurting enough.
No, that's right. Yeah. And that's interesting because it's not until things start to go wrong. I see in businesses, Darren, like yours, one or two key team members leave or are forced to leave, whatever it may be. And all of a sudden, the holes in the business become more evident, don't they? COVID was a big one for a lot of people because a lot of the IP is trapped in people's heads, and then all of a sudden they're working remotely, and you can't control them, you can't see them. So COVID was a really big one, similar to what you experienced there at Canard. So it's interesting that there wasn't a big enough need. You always knew logically, Darren, that it's something you should do to obviously free up your time and to improve your quality control, but there was not a big enough pain. Was that fair?
We didn't have it prioritized up the top of the tree.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, why don't I share with you? I've sort of coached businesses since 2004 and owned a number of businesses through that as well. And there's some real common themes as to why people don't systemize. Because when you're coaching businesses and dealing with different issues in their marketing area or their leadership area, their sales or their HR or their ops, finances, often again the root cause it's either going to be people, tech, or systems, and systems is always the root of the other two. So it's interesting how it comes up. And then when we talk about it, and they're feeling the pain, Darren, you guys weren't feeling as much, and then all of a sudden it hit you in the face. Yeah. And then I sort of say to people, why haven't you done that? What's held you back? Here's one of the common responses. They're scared that people are going to learn the systems, in their team, like the team are going to learn them and then they're going to leave. Well, what's even scarier is if you don't train them and they stay, because as a business owner, you're dealing with fires all the time. Another common reason is they don't know how to systemize them properly. They've never felt the real impact of it, which is exactly what you just said, Darren. Number 3 was the reason. You don't think it's important. Why systemize? It's all working. It's all good. Don't fix it something that's not broken. Yeah, okay. Well, if you're working 50, 60 hours or even 40 hours, what if you could run the same business and work 20 hours? Oh, that'd be pretty cool. But for some people, that's scary because they don't have anything else in their life. I've got farming to fill that gap. You got to think about, what do you have? You don't understand the true cost of your business being inefficient. You might be making a bit of a profit now, but what if your profit could double without putting on extra team members, without doing too many extra hours or even doing less hours? They don't understand the true cost of it. They feel that, it is what it is. You've done things a certain way for a long, like this was my family business. My dad did it that way. My grandpa did it that way. So you're sort of numb to change. You're not, you're not courageous enough to look at a different way, or you feel it's testing. None of these reasons are right or wrong. These are just people's reality. Let's be clear on that. Some people change or technology scares you. Yeah. So what have we got? There's another one. You generally have a belief that being reactive and busy is the norm and a sign of success. It's interesting when you say, you catch up with people on the phone, okay, mate, go, oh, yeah, flat out. It's almost like people think being flat out's a trophy. If you think about it unconsciously, and when you have conversations with people, where it's not really, and then people complain they don't have enough time to be with their children or themselves or catch up with their loved ones. But the root problem is our business, and it's the lack of systems that are in place. If the systems, the greatest sign of poor systems is high time in a business, okay, for your team or your staff or for you. If people are doing mass hours, it's typically because there's a lot of system holes. Now, what I've found, there's 8 reasons I've given you, but the two main ones that I've noticed over the 20 years is that owners have never really felt the power, the freedom, the liberation, and the benefit of systems. If you don't know about it, if you're not aware of it, if you've never felt it, tasted it, lived it, how can you really know how good it is? And the other thing is that they've never been shown what they look like and how to create them successfully. So, let's do another poll, Darren. Let's find out from your group. So we know why you were really number 3. And number 4 a little bit as well. What are the people listening to this call? Let's run the next poll. Okay, so we know time management and core service is the things that you would get the most benefit from, but what's holding you back? So have we launched that poll there, Darren or Jenna?
Yep. Poll's up now.
Yep. So again, as listeners, just let us know, what's the main reason for you not systemizing parts or whole of your business? There is no right or wrong. This is about you and your story. You're in this webinar for you, not for anybody else. If you can share with us, then we can sort of speak into it more specifically for you. Give that 15 more seconds, Jenna, and then shut it down, and I'll write down what the major reasons are.
I can see 67% say they don't feel they have enough time to systemize their business with everything else that's going on. And 33% say they don't understand the true cost of being inefficient or ineffective in some parts of the business.
That is awesome. I love that honesty. It's amazing when you get business owners together. What I expect people to say, particularly in live events, and people come and they come to learn, and they just be so honest and raw. That's beautiful. So don't have enough time. Yeah. So the interesting part is, the old cliche, well, it's 24 hours a day, 7 days, blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. It's about what are we consciously choosing to do in our time. So do we have enough time? Yeah, we do. Are we making the time? Are we prioritizing the time? As Darren and Donna and the team, found out when they were systemizing and they started to kick back a little bit, they did really well, and then they stalled a bit and said, hang on, this is the reasons you're doing it. Is this your priority or not? All of a sudden it's, hang on, no, we did choose this. We do know what the benefit is. We can already start to see it and feel it. Come on, let's get back into gear. And Darren drove it, and I'm sure you'll tell a bit about that later. So not having enough time, or not choosing enough time to focus on it, that's really common. Thank you for sharing, and don't understand the true cost. Hopefully we'll help you understand that more in this webinar. So Darren, why did you, so now you realise why you didn't do it. So why don't you share with your clients, like why did you then all of a sudden decide to go, hang on, I've got to do this?
Look, yeah, it's one of those things, I suppose. You can almost say an aha moment in due course, Trent.
Yep.
COVID increased our workloads immensely. We got to the stage we had new staff coming in, trying to grow as well. We started sharing some of the work around between sections, getting the right person on the right job. And all of a sudden, a lot of feedback to us owners saying things are done differently from here and here, causing lots of frustrations, a lot of face-to-face time on training new people. We just got to the stage we were sick of it, I suppose, and we just needed to do something different. Just couldn't keep on being that way, and with staff being, and you can imagine if things done differently is one of the things that will get staff annoyed fairly quickly. So we had to do something, and
because sorry, Darren, just to cut you there. The interesting part about that is, the scariest part about when you've got an environment where your staff are getting frustrated. When they get frustrated, what's the next step for them that scares you the most?
The scariest thing is if people then say, look, there might be somewhere else to go that's better.
Correct. Then you lose staff. So frustration is the beginning. Imagine losing your workforce because it's so inefficient all over the place. That's even more costly. So
we think accounting's pretty sexy actually, and we thought we could just attract people, but it's not quite as sexy as we thought. So most businesses,
you're a weird bunch, you accountants. It's not sexy at all, I'm telling you.
We try.
No, you are much needed, but you're not sexy. Let's just say that way. So obviously there's a new staff, sharing workload, high frustrations. You're trying to train it, but the problems are coming back to you. You get to that boiling point, and then you go, well, I've got to do something different. The funny thing, Darren, for me, I always say to people, you're not going to find the time until you have to. And you guys got to that point. For me, my wife hit me with, hey, Trent, why don't we sell up our houses and buy a caravan and travel Australia? I said, what are you, on drugs? She wasn't, because she peppered me for 6 months and sold me on it. I said, yeah, okay, well, let's go and explore simplicity. So we ended up deciding to go traveling and selling everything up. We sold, we sold everything up, or we gave it away, or we threw it away. So everything we had was just a caravan. We traveled Australia for 2 years with our 3 children, who were 5, 7, and 9 at the time when we started back in 2014. But the year before that is when we decided it. And I was packing myself because I only had the teacher forward business, and it was all me, really. And I thought, well, how am I going to actually generate income while I'm traveling? Otherwise, we're going to have nothing, And so I had to get in a mad rush of systemizing. Lisa came on; she was incredible. And when we were away, because I was probably systemized like an absolute soldier for 9, 10, 12 months, ready, because we had a date we were leaving, Darren. And the business grew 13% every year while we traveled, which enabled me that was where I discovered the work 3 days a week, 33 weeks a year, and make 333. So that's another story, but that was really cool. So until us business owners have something major that hits us, like it could be a key person leaving, it could be you having some sort of an illness, touch wood, that doesn't happen. It could be a major life change, like the travel thing for us. It could be a massive fear that people are going to leave. It could be a competitor coming into the market. Until something major happens, we typically don't decide to systemize. So it's just the people who are listening, what is it that would need to happen for you? Okay. So, Aaron, you wanted me to talk about, give your listeners, your clients, some of the principles and the how-tos. So let's dive into that. This is the 5 overarching rules or principles. If you can, I'd suggest you either write them down as we go, or once I get to the end, screenshot it. But these are simplified. One of our core values in our business is simplicity. Choose what's truly important. Okay, break it down and get to the core. Here's the core things for you. So when you get to that point, you say, look, I'm going to make the time to do this. I'm going to make this business better so I can make more money and do it in less time. Number one thing you want to do is make your systems easy to follow. Okay, I'm going to talk about it in a minute, but some of the ways we do it, we used to do it all in writing and lists and bits and pieces. Now we predominantly do it in videos, less than 5 minutes. And I'll explain to you why shortly. But if they're easy for your team to follow, then they're going to follow them. Make them easy to find, okay? The problem that we've found in helping businesses do this over the last 5 to 10 years is that there's so many different versions of doing your tasks in your business. And some people might have them saved on their desktop. Some of them are in your server. Some of them are in folders sitting on over in a bookcase somewhere. But you've got to have all your systems and your business's way. So in the Canars example, there's got to be one way it's done in the Canars way, okay? And that has to be easy to find somewhere like on their server. If it takes more than 43 seconds to find a system, I guarantee the human beings that work for you will then go off and do it their own way. They'll make it up as they go, or they'll just do what they remember. So just always remember that. The third thing, get out of the way, yet still monitor what's happening. What I find is that human beings don't actually really like to be told what to do. If you remember your childhood, or if you've got children, you know, tell your children to go and empty the bins, and they say, and it's boom. You know, us as adults are the same. So what we need to do is give them the guidance, set up the structure, and then allow them to put them together, and then we monitor it and hold them to account and support them along the way. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. Number 4, Darren, this is what I think you should speak into. You've got to make sure you get buy-in of your team. If it's just you as the owner trying to do it, and then you're telling your people to do it, it's not going to work. What we've found is that the more of your team members that you get involved with it, things will happen much faster and they'll happen much better. So, Darren, you guys got a little stuck when you started working with us in the systemizing, but then you jumped in to get the team more involved. Do you want to share what happened there and what you did?
Yeah, look, certainly. So one of the things that Trent helped us out with for a start was one of our core services, and it was a big project. We had our team members all involved, broke that up, etc. But as we started going down that pathway, people started getting bogged down here and there. So I sort of got involved again, just to keep things moving, challenges they had, concerns they had, overcome those. And once we got through those, it got back on track again. So it just needed a bit more guidance, I suppose, in certain areas that maybe we hadn't anticipated initially when we got out of the way. So.
Yeah, so when businesses systemize with us at Teacher Forward, the owners will probably do about 20% of the work. The team will typically do about 40, 50%, and then we typically do, 30% of it as well. So it's really a collaborative effort, and I'll explain to you why in a tick as well. The other thing that is a real general principle is make sure you appoint a systems champion. So that's someone that's not the boss, okay? You need someone in the business who, is organised, who is focused, who, they don't have to be the best worker, they don't have to be your best on ground or anything like that. But typically there's someone who is really organised. They've got respect of other people in the business. And, if they get in and organise things, people will tend to follow. They've got some natural leadership skills. Pretty much every business has one. They may not have an official leadership position, but they are well respected and organised in the business. And as a business owner, having someone and appointing someone that, it actually means that when you do go and share this with the team and enroll it, they're not hearing it from the boss, they're hearing it from one of their peers. So there's these little subtle principles that if you get these, if you keep these in mind and do this, in your own business, your chances of success will go up, 120%. Okay. So, and the reason I know that is because I've stuffed it, years ago, and then I found that these actually work. So let me take you through, so some of you said time management and some of you said core services. Okay. So let's just say you're going to start with one of those. What's the 4 things you've got to do to actually systemize your time management or your core service? Let's have a look. Let's go through it now. So it's 4 stages you must follow. Okay, if you're going to systemize things, you must be aware of this methodology. Okay, this first step, okay, I'll just go through them briefly and I'll go through each step for you in more detail. Okay, if you want to have systems that work, that drop your time and that increase your cash to free up, give you more choices in your personal life, make sure you do all 4 steps in order. Okay. Most of the work that we do when we're dealing with businesses in this is stopping them from skipping steps. Darren was like this, okay? everyone knows to document. The first thing you got to do is document it in some way, shape, or form. Once you've done that, the most important thing is to go and test it. Test it with people who don't have the experience of doing that task or skill. Okay, if you're doing time management, okay, and you are managing your calendar, that you say, look, I've got an admin person and I'm going to help them manage my calendar. Okay, you've got to document how you want it done, and then you've got to get them, if they've never touched your calendar, they don't know the rules of what you want and how you want it to work, document it in whatever way you want, get them to test it, because then you'll see the holes in the system. Now, when you're optimizing in stage 2, it's really important to find those holes, because the next stage is to train the team. Okay, so if you're systemizing your core service and you're using testing on people who don't normally do it, but they can then do it really well using the refined system, don't train it until it actually works. Otherwise, you're going to train people how to do things incorrectly, and then they're going to get frustrated, and then they're going to put a belief system around systems don't work. Once you've trained the team, test and measure the difference. This is where you and the team start to get real confidence in the team, because the numbers are changing and showing. And Darren might share some of his numbers, because one of his measurements of one of their systems was about how long it took to do a job. And just by going through these stages, it decreased like 30%. And now they're focusing on dropping it down another 30%. So imagine if it took you, say, 100 days to do a task, and now it only takes you 60 days, and then you're focusing on bringing it down to 30 days. Well, that just means that once you get it to that point, that work, you can do 3 times the amount of productivity in the next 100 days, because you've made it more effective, which, think about how that would have impacted your dollars and cents and time. So let's go through each of these stages for you, okay, so you understand them. The stage number 1, documenting. This is something you've all probably done in the past. I haven't been in a business where there's 0 systems. Everybody's got some shape or form. We've all read a book or listened to a seminar, or someone said you should systemize, so you start documenting. A lot of them are sitting in bookshelves or whatever it may be. That's what we used to do years ago, back in 2004, 2005, 2006, when we had a bigger business. That's what we did. But now what we do is we audio record them. So we use, for businesses that are heavy on computers, where a lot of the work's done that way, we use a thing called Loom, where it records your voice and it records what you're doing on the computer. So you can people can visually see what you're doing, but they can also hear you talking through it. That's really, really, really important, okay? If you think about why we actually do the videos as well, when we do the videos, we then actually have them, we have some people overseas then transcribe it, put it into writing, because some people like to hear things, some people like to see things, some people like to read things. So we just want to make sure we cover everybody's communication modality, so when we do actually train the team, everybody in the team will have the modality that works for them. The reason why we used to do long videos, but then we thought this is crap, because when you actually apply it and then somebody's stuck, they don't want to watch a 40-minute video. But look at what we do on the weekends or at night time. We're so accustomed to looking at Facebook or LinkedIn videos or Instagram videos, like adults, grandparents, children, we're all doing it. So if our systems are pretty much the same, they're just 2, 3, 4, 5-minute videos, they've got a habit of doing it. You're going to have more success of your team using it. Okay, so that's really, really, really important. So what you do is basically look at what you're going to systemize, break it down into its major steps, and then from the major steps you break that down into the micro steps. And I'll show you how we do it in a set. Well, I'll show you now. Actually, stuff it. Now, what I'm about to put up on screen is really a major part of your documenting. Now, when I saw this for the first time, it freaked me out. It overwhelmed me. This is a process of one of our clients, and I'm going, holy guacamole, that is like overwhelming. But the interesting part about this is that when people can see it visually, as opposed to imagine if you've got a system like here on the left-hand side and step by step, you go, yeah, no, that's what we do. That's how we do it. But then when you see that in a visual like this, it's a lot easier to flow and track, and you go, oh, no, but hang on, it missed a step, you know. For me as the owner, when I saw it, it gave me a much greater appreciation of all the things my team do, my team and the technology does, okay? So how, when your team start, if you document and you process map like this, okay, people can very quickly pinpoint where you've missed something. So Darren, I know that you started the systemizing process before we started doing this. Then Jenna, so this is Jenna's creation. Jenna's the master of systems. She created this process map for you. What was the difference once she did that for you?
We just like you said, Trent, we probably found we didn't really appreciate it. The business owners, different areas of the team, we're all involved in this. But once you document it, there's a lot of touch points through this whole thing. And once we identify what they were, you've then got a chance to not just systemize it, but look at where you're effectively doing things or being ineffective.
Yeah.
So bit by bit, it may not be all at once. You can document the whole system, but it's a continual improvement process. But this really helped us get a bigger feel for exactly what the process was.
Yeah.
And we can then look at it and try and get it not just systemized, but effectively systemized as well.
Yeah. And look, that's a really powerful point. And if people are writing notes listening to this or typing, okay, if you are a business owner who doesn't want to be on the coal face and trying to micromanage everything, if that's not what you want to do, write this rule down. This is the rule I live by and how I can run my businesses. This is what you write down. If you can't see it, you can't fix it. So I say it this way: if I can't see it, I can't fix it. So in the context of systems, when I have a process map like this, no matter how big or small it is, if I can't see it and see the flow and I go, well, why do we do that step? Why wouldn't we just skip that and do that? And well, why wouldn't we add that there? So when I can see it, I can see solutions or I can see problems. So please remember, as a listening point, to take away from this, if I can't see it, I can't fix it. A lot of us are visual people. We're either visual, audio, or we're kinesthetic. We've got to do. So most of us have got a really strong visual component. So process mapping is a really powerful tool, part of document stage 1. Stage 2, okay? So this is where we optimize. Really, really, really important, okay? This is the step that everyone tries to skip over, and it is the most silliest thing to do, okay? Before we train your team members on the systems, I think it's a good idea to make sure they work first. If you're going to train them on a system, not just do you want it to work, you want it to be more effective than the way that they're already doing it, okay? So you probably want to, as a person systemizing your own business, you want to actually prove to yourself that it works first. So what we recommend is that when you're testing a system, okay, the people who wrote the system are the worst to test it, because they've done the system and that it's their knowledge. They're the best at doing it. You want to test it on someone who's got no idea about how to do that. Okay. Now, the reason for that is they don't have the unconscious understanding of it. They don't know all the little 1%ers because they've never done it before. If you're going to hire someone to come into your business to help you grow or to replace someone's that left, they don't have the 1%ers either. So that's why we want to test it with people who are inexperienced or unskilled in the area that you're doing it, okay? Because they're going to ask that one silly question. You're going to think it's silly, but it's actually very powerful. If you can get someone who's never done it before, but within a week or so, they can do the skill that you're trying to systemize just as well as the experienced people, what options does that give you? Okay. I've done this in the conveyancing business very strongly. We have new people, a new person come in, and within 3 days they're doing billable work. They're doing tasks that are, progressing our work through the flow very quickly. Within 4 weeks, they're a major player, and that's because of the systemizing, because we've done this testing. Okay. Now, what's really important too is what I should have said before: when you're documenting, only document when people are doing the task live. You don't need, you know, how you guys are saying you don't have enough time. Okay, the cool part about the way we do this is we don't go away and sit you out in a boardroom and go, right, now how do you do this? No. We want to record it while you're doing it. So, you know, if you don't do it on a computer and you're doing it in person, mate, everyone's got a phone, record it, okay? You record it, and then you can get somebody to go and transcribe it. So always when you're documenting, do the job live. Now, when you're testing it, okay, get them to, you know, it's not about doing it once, oh, that worked. You want them to do it 5 times in a row without a mistake. That'll tell you that it works. If they do 3 or 4 and then they make a mistake or whatever it may be, if it doesn't work, start again, 1 to 5. Got to get five in a row. If you don't do that, the system's not robust enough. Don't waste your time and train on your team. Okay. The third step, okay, most people will jump onto the training part. It's pretty simple explanation. Here's the distinction for you. This is where I stuffed up in the early days. When you take the time to document and test it, okay, that's your business ways of doing it. If there are other ways available to a human being that they're used to, that's their default, that's their habit, they will take it, okay? Water always finds the lowest point on earth. Humans will always find the easiest and slackest way of doing it. So what we've got to do before we go and train the new system, we need to make sure that we archive and get rid of every other option available. In some companies, they'll have different versions of software that they use. Some people need to actually delete the old way. And some businesses have been holding on to it, because we still do a few jobs through that, or a few files. Mate, stop it, delete it, get rid of it, because if your team can't access it, they can't use the old ways, okay? So that is a really critical part. Make sure you archive first before you train, because once you train and they go out and they're going to do it on active jobs, active tasks, active files, whatever it is for your business, okay, there should only be one way of doing it, and that's your business's way. Even when people have, like in the accounting game in Canar's way, if they go and hire a senior accountant from another practice, some of the mistakes that accounting firms go, well, they're senior, they already know all this. No, they don't. They know how to do the technical stuff, broad brush and pretty good, but they don't know the Canar's way. Okay, you've got to train them in the Canar's way. Okay, when you train your team, write this down. Don't train it once. Human beings need it in layers. That's why we do 6-7 years in primary school, 6-7 years, whatever it is, in high school. Okay, you learn in layers. If you're going to train your team on your systems, train it over 3 to 4 weeks. Build it in layers, build their confidence, and that'll stick longer. Okay, don't rush it. Take your time, because that's showing the team that you care, and it means something to you. Stage 4, this is where you test and measure. Test and measure is the key. Okay, I don't agree on doing new things in a business for the sake of it. If I'm going to do something new, I need to see what the impact is, because if the impact's what I want it to be, then I'm going to throw more money and time at it. If I do something new and it doesn't work, or it's the same, I'm going to stop throwing money and time at it. You guys say time management's your biggest thing. Okay, well then make sure you test and measure things, because if it works, do it more. If it doesn't work, stop doing it, do something different. Okay, really, really important. Okay, this is where not you as the owners can really see the impact of what you've invested in time and money to get to this place, but also with your team members, like in Darren's case, where it's taken them 30% less time, that freed up time for their team members, and they're going, God, it didn't take me as long. Oh, that's awesome. I can get onto other files, or, hey, I'm feeling more productive, or in my review, I'm getting much more positive results because I'm getting through my work better and I'm not making the mistakes. They're feeling better about themselves. So really make sure if you can't see it, okay, you can't fix it. So you need to see the numbers, not KPIs, they're results of things. We're talking critical drivers. So measuring behavior, because if you measure behavior and the behavior changes, increases, then the results increase. Okay. But that's the 4 stages. Does that make it clear, do you think, Darren?
Yeah, that's really good, Trent, and that's great summary of the process we went through with you guys. Obviously, there was, yes, I did try and skip steps sometimes, but it didn't work out as well as.
And that's why he calls me a hard task manager, because I clipped him around the ear for it.
So,
I didn't want you to waste the time and money, mate. That's all.
It's very important, very, very important.
So I'll leave you with this in terms of the theory side of things. Well, not the theory, it's really the principle. It's what we call the systems trilogy. Okay. So most of you know, like the pyramids, what's the strongest shape on the planet? It's a triangle. It has 3 sides. Okay. So when you're looking to do systems in your business, okay, doing it yourself, however way you do it, okay, you've got to hold this triangle. And if you don't hold it, okay, you've probably tried systemizing things before and it's fallen over. This triangle will help you understand why. Okay. So first side of the triangle you need is really you, the business owner. Okay. If you, the business owner, hasn't had that point in life where you've decided to travel, or you've lost a key team member, like, oh shit, I have to do this now. If you don't have the business owner fully committed, then it's not going to work. The business owner brings the vision. Okay. You, the one who can see the business as a whole, you know where it should start, and you're going to see the numbers and the impacts. So you need the business owner or business owners to be fully committed. The second side of the triangle is where we said before, you need that systems champion, okay? Because they really are the driver and the doer. The business owner and the systems champion work side by side. Just like on a flight deck of any commercial aircraft, you've got a captain and you've got a first officer. They have to work together, okay? So we need a systems champion. Now, what we explained before with Darren, so they had that, they're cruising along, but you've got to understand they've got a core business activities to do. They're still doing all your tax returns, they're doing all your financial account preps, and they're doing systemizing. And then they started to go, oh no, your work's too important. So their old habits, the reasons why they didn't do it in the first place, really started to come to the surface. And then that's why they said, we've got to work with Trent or Anna and teach it forward. So you need someone that's there on the side there who's an expert of this, who's going to drive it through. But what they do is bring accountability, okay? They're going to bring you back to why you did this. They're going to shortcut some of the things that are blocking you or holding you in place. So what we've found is that, and pretty much every client said, if we didn't have you, we wouldn't have got through. And I'm not trying to be a poet. That's just the way it's always come out. So just think about that. When you are building your systems, what are your 3? You don't have to use us. You can use anybody as a systems expert, but you need someone who's got a really good knowledge of systems, who's prepared to be known for being a hard task master. So as Darren said, well, he's straight down the line. He tells it straight, and he's a bit hard on us, because our job is to make sure that the systems get done. That's our core focus. Your job's to do your core business and the systems, okay? So we've got to be there to help you. So, Aaron, maybe you should tell your clients, why did you decide to use us to help you and not do it yourself? Because, I mean, you are a partner of an accounting firm. Like, you're commercial, you know your stuff, you've been in business a long time. Like, you should be able to freaking do it yourself, right? But for some reason you chose us. What was your thinking?
In the end, it was basically around probably a couple of things. 1, we were time poor. 2, we didn't know what the best practice way of doing it was. I mean, on one hand, it sounds like a system is easy, write on a bit of paper, but you do that and you'll have failures as you're going along that process. So we wanted to learn from the best, I suppose, as we're going along. We saw you on a webinar there. We reached out to you. Part of that was this book called Systemology as well, which I read, and it just became a no-brainer in the end. The partners here made that decision. We want to commit to this. We know the reasons why, but we need help. So, and Teach It Forward was the organisation we went to help us out.
I remember you saying too that you said we just need to accelerate this, because if we don't have you giving us a hand, this is going to take us 2 years. When if you do it, it'll take us 6 months, and that's really what it took us, didn't it? So, that's fantastic. So, one of the we just added a slide here, mate. Sorry if it stuffed you up, but your clients said that the reason why they haven't done systems is because they don't understand the true cost. Is that right? That was one of the the second major and that
Yeah,
second
it
pile.
was. Yep.
Yep. Okay, so guys, this for you who are listening, okay, here's 5 questions to ask yourself. Screenshot it at the end, but think about it as I'm speaking. What's the real cost of you not coming away from this webinar and systemizing in some way, shape, or form? Okay. Think about the mistakes that you or your team make in your business. What does that cost you per year? Not just in dollars, in reputation, in time, okay, in frustration, in stress. What do those mistakes cost you per year? Systems done stage 1, 2, 3, 4 in that process will mitigate 80% of the mistakes in your business. 80%. But what is it costing you? Because just because you may not be aware of the financial cost, people aren't going to tell you why they left, why they're not using you now and using your competitors. They will not tell you. But what is the cost? What does spending too much time on emails or phone calls really cost you? Is that where you actually make the best money? Is that where you as the business owner should be spending your time to really grow the business? Is that where you need to do it? Or is there other things you should be doing that if you had your team trained in a different way, or you had systems in place, or you changed the model of the business so you didn't have to be on the emails and phone calls, or what's that costing you the way you're doing it now? What does you doing the work that you pay your team or technology to do cost you in time? I so often see business owners doing tasks that, their senior people should be doing. And I go, what the hell are you doing that? Or the owners doing things that their bookkeeper should be doing. And I go, you're paying them 30, 40, 50 bucks an hour and you're doing it. Like, do you buy a dog and wag its tail? I don't think so. But you could, when you say you guys, time management's the area you probably should systemize first, okay? Start to look at what you're actually doing. Do a time default study on yourself. Like, look at what you do every 5-10 minutes, okay? Or every 15 minutes for 3 days and write it down. What did you do last 15 minutes? What did you do? It'll blow your mind. But if you're doing stuff that's, low value and you're taking up your time, that's the cost of not systemizing. What does having your highest paid team members doing menial work that your junior people should be doing? Okay. So one of the questions I ask myself with certain tasks in our business, if I could, wouldn't it be better if I could get someone I'm paying in effect $25 an hour? I'd rather them doing that task than someone I'm paying $70 an hour. Okay. Not many of us ask that. If you're paying somebody $100,000 a year, that's pretty much $50 an hour, approximately. Okay. So think about it. And here's the most important one. What does your version of freedom look like as a business owner to you? And when are you going to start doing something proactively to make it happen? Most of us say we don't have the time. We do have the time. Okay. We just don't have the focus or the clarity. So once we get the focus or clarity as to what we actually want, that might be the thing. That might just be the thing that kicks you into gear and says, nah, enough's enough. Okay. I've got a law firm. I'm just about to start work within half an hour. It's time. And they're working long hours, 3 young children. And he says, it's just got to stop. My dad died when I was a kid and I don't want to be that dad. So I need to get moving. So maybe that's you, maybe it's not. But what does your version of freedom look like? Darren? What do you think?
Yes. Look, this stuff is really important. I know from our experiences working with Trent and systemization the last 9 months, it's making a big change. We've still got a long way to go. Look, I suppose the next thing really is, Trent, what would you say then that clients can take as the next steps, I suppose, for how they can unlock their business's potential?
Well, I think that they've got to go and do it themselves, or they've got to go and get someone to help them. You said to me, well, if some of my clients wanted to work with you, what would be the steps? So we've got pretty much a 3-step process. Believe it or not, it's systemized. The first one's really simple. We have a thing called a discovery call. I think that's a bit cliche for a name, but it's literally what it is for us. We don't charge for anything like that. But We've actually had businesses, Darren, come to us and say, look, we'd like you to help us systemise their business, and we've had to turn them away. One, some of the common reasons is they're under-resourced. It's a one-man band. It's not going to work. You can't do the stage 4. Another reason is they don't have a systems champion. They might have 2 or 3 people, but there's no someone that can help them. They're not going to get that buy-in per se, that it's going to be so difficult. So, and other people have got the team members, but they're not actually exactly clear. So in the discovery call, I just like to have a chat to them, understand their business. I've worked with so many different businesses. I'll be able to work out in about 7 to 8 questions where you need to systemize or not. So I like to just do a quick discovery call, meet the people, find out about their business and see if it's going to actually have an impact. If we get to that call and, the point is to identify 1 or 2 areas that they need to systemize. If we get to that point, it's going to work for them, they're keen, then we can say, look, why don't you jump on with Jenna? Jenna's the person who'll do it with you, and she'll do a demo call. So she's actually going to get on. They would then go and have a meeting with Jenna within a few days, a week, and actually see the process that the 4 stages. We'll show you behind the scenes exactly what it's looked like. We'll show you the matrix, how we manage the time, who would be responsible, in the context of this person, of this business, because we want you to see it before you can make a decision. Yeah. So there's no pressure. It's just really understanding and making sure that you're most informed before we have a decision call. So, that's then if they want to proceed or if we want to proceed with them, that's the 3rd step. So I don't like to be sold to. I need to make sure that if we're going to bring somebody on, that we're going to be able to deliver the value, because we don't market a hell of a lot. We basically go on word of mouth and we do really well. So, and I think that's because we just slow down the sales side of things. We make sure there's a connection. We make sure that we can make a difference. We get the numbers clear at the beginning before we even think about working together. So that's how it'll work. So, Darren, obviously you've done this as well, because you can obviously, you're going to ask your clients going forward, questions around the systems and support them. So why don't we do one more poll?
Yep.
And let's see the people who have listened, what do they see as the steps that they are going to take? Okay. So has the poll launched?
Yes, it has, Trent.
Okay. So you've really got 3 options there. So, going from this webinar, is it something, do you want to talk to Darren to see what he thinks? He might know your businesses just as well as you, or, what he thinks the next step should be, or would you like to talk to me to see how, or if, your business is eligible or it could work? Or would you like to just go and, take those 5 principles, take those 4 stages and have a go and do it yourself? Okay. There's no right or wrong way. We would just like to know if we've made any impact, and if somebody does want to work with us, we want to make sure that we can follow you through, and we'll catch up, and Darren can do the same. So how are we going? Can everyone just hit one of those options for us, please? How many hits has everyone clicked it, or where are we at, Jenna?
Not yet, just a few more. Let's just give a few more seconds.
Okay. See what it is. Just put whatever it is, whatever's true for you. It's all okay. No expectations. What are you going to do? Okay. You can have a webinar, but you've got to go and take action now, because that's how you get the results in your life. Jenna, you tell me when you're going to close it up. And Darren, we've got to wind this up.
Yep. No worries.
Okay, so we have 70% saying they'd like to speak to Darren first,
Okay.
and 20% they'll try and do it themselves,
Excellent.
and then 10% would like to reach out to Trent from Teach It Forward.
Look out. Look out. Who's the lucky 1 or 2? Bring it on. I'll look forward to having a chat. We'll get whoever clicked us. We'll get your number, name and number in the next hour or so, and I'll reach out and we'll make a time to have a chat and go from there. And for the people who are going to do it themselves, please, I hope Darren's going to send a recording. Just go back to those 5 principles and the 4 stages. And if you can get the recording, just listen to what I say, the little key points. So I wish you luck. I know Darren's going to be there to support you. Donna, Fiona, they've all been part of it. They've got the experience. Kanaz, I reckon, are one of our best clients at systemising. So they have full congruency. They can certainly help you out as clients. So, yeah, thanks for the opportunity, Darren, to share with you and your clients. I really appreciate it. And just have loved working with Canars, because you practice what you preach, and very few accounting firms do that, because I've worked with accounting firms since 2008. So Canars is one of the best. So as a listening client, I mean that genuinely, and I appreciate the experience. Thank you, Darren.
No worries, Trent. I'll give you that $20 later on for those kind words too. Thank you. Look,
20,
thanks everyone
50.
for your time. Thanks, I'm in the can and I'm a bit tight.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Trent, for your time as well. Look, just if you can let us know, either reach out, either maybe in the chat session of this. We'll keep this open for 5 or 10 minutes in case people do have some questions for us. But if you need to go, just let us know whether you want Trent's details, whether you want us to reach out to you. Let us know in the chat session. Email me. I can pass Trent's details on as well. But if you can make sure you do that so we know who wants to have a chat to who, that'd be fantastic. I've got many stories to share about wins we've had. So I'm looking forward to having a chat to a few of you there. Okay, thanks very much, appreciate it. Now I will open it up for questions. If you have got some questions, just unmute yourself and you can ask questions of Trent or myself, and we'll just keep open for another 5 minutes and help anyone out. Anybody got any questions they want to ask now?
I'm just waiting for someone to say, how the hell could you bog that tractor in summer? But no. But I'd also like to thank Donna, because Donna and Jenna have done a power of work behind the scenes for us. So couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, ladies. I'm not sure how much Fee did as well. Donna had to put up with me for a call. Thank goodness that was over. And Sean, thanks for being there as a backup, mate. So I think everyone's dropping out, mate. They don't have any questions, but you go and reach out to them. And
what we'll do is we'll close the meeting.
Yep.
A couple of comments coming through.